Okay, hello. So we have some things to do to move forward with our sculpture. And in this video, we're going to talk about the base. So if your base is finished and you've got concrete in it and your wire coming out, um, then that's where I'm at. Now I'm going to look at my base to make sure that it's nice and sturdy. And I've noticed that my glue came loose here in this corner and I need to repair it. I don't want that loose corner. So I've got my hot glue gun. If you just kind of quickly touch it, you can tell if it's hot on the body. You don't want to touch the metal tip. That's always way too hot. So I'm repairing that edge. Now, no one's going to see the inside of your box, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. I noticed that I don't have tape going all the way up, and that's probably why my hot glue gave out on me. So I'm going to repair that. So got some more tape there. Now I don't want bubbly glue on the outside of my base because we're going to cover it with magazine papers and it's going to take the form that our box is. So if you have bubbly glue coming out of the outside of your box, you're not going to like that look. So that's drying there. So I noticed that when I put my base on, that my lid is more flexible than I really want it to be. I'd like it to be sturdier. And so the way that I'm going to fix that is I'm going to put some stilts inside of my base. So I can measure, see here, I can measure how tall my walls are against my concrete. And it looks like I'm at this mark right here. So with a wooden pencil, you can make a mark on it and then erase it. With the metal pencils, you can't. So do whatever you need to do to make sure that you can remember. I actually want to move that down just one mark. Now, you don't have to put stilts in your base, but if you feel like it's not as sturdy as you want it to be when you put the lid on, then this is a good option for you. Another thing I want to think about before I do my stilts is my wire that we've installed to begin with, is it sturdy enough to support my sculpture? So if I put my sculpture against my wire, do I feel like it's going to fall over with the amount of support that is there? Now, with my sculpt, I feel like the wire is long enough and it's strong enough, but my sculpture is not super heavy. Now, if yours, for some reason, like you did a lot of foil on creating a dress, or it's really top heavy, it's got a lot of muscles in the top or something like that, and if you feel like your wire isn't strong enough, then what we need to do is take the concrete out of your box, which with the plastic, it should come out pretty easily, and then install a heavier duty wire and then re-pour the concrete. As a sculptor, we accept that we just have to redo things sometimes. Sometimes we make our best guess at what will support our sculpture when we begin, but sometimes, things take a turn and it's not what we thought it was going to be. So I'm going to use glue sticks as my support system inside of this to help my lid be a little bit stronger. And I'm just going to mark. Oh, it's not wanting to mark with a pencil. Here, I've got a Sharpie close by. I'm just going to mark where I need to cut it. And I'm going to you can cut this with an art knife. You can cut it with scissors. I think scissors probably are the easiest. It might damage the scissors some, but our scissors have been through quite a bit. And you don't have to have a ton of these supports. I would say 4 are probably good enough. So I'm gonna measure that again. It looks like I'm gonna be able to get 2 supports out of this glue stick. So in architecture, they call these support beams, and they're literally there to help make the structure be more sound. And that's what we're doing. We're just making our structure more sound. So I'm cutting this. Take some strong hands to get through it, and this is my waist, which it's okay. It's not a big deal. So I've got 2 support beams, and I'm just gonna move my plastic out of the way, and I'm gonna take the more even end, and I'm gonna make a little puddle of hot glue and put those in there. I'm just gonna do 2 in this video so that you don't have to watch me do a whole bunch, but a 4 is a good number. 4 beams. So I'm just gonna put a whole bunch of hot glue on here, and then I'm going to plop it down. Now, hot glue is brittle and it lets go pretty easily, so it's not a great option if you're going to have a lot of movement in what's going on, but this is not going to have a lot of movement. It's just going to support that lid a little bit better. Now, if you feel like your lid isn't as too wobbly for you, you don't have to do this. Okay, so in a perfect world, I would go ahead and I would cut another glue stick and make a few more. So now when I put this on, I've got, see, it's more stable. So I feel better about that already. So when I put my lid on top, I don't want it to be crooked or anything like that. So I'm going to apply the tape using a tension method. I'm going to create tension. So this is enough for 2. I'm going to take my tape, apply it to my lid, match up my corners, and then I'm going to hold this in place. I'm going to pull pretty tightly and wrap it around the corner there. And then I'm going to do the same on the opposite side. So I'm going to put the tape on my lid, get it attached pretty nicely on the opposite side, and then I'm going to match up my corners, my edges, and I'm going to pull tightly and wrap my tape around the edge. And then I'm just going to repeat that on the opposite sides. And so what I've done is I've applied tension to both ends, helping it to stay even and stretched across the surface. So put that on there. Gonna kind of make sure all my edges are matched up. Pull tightly, just like that. So now my base is sturdier. It would be even more sturdier if I had added more posts, which I think unless your sculpture base is really big, for this size, 4 is okay, but too much support's never a bad thing. And we're going to do the collage magazine papers all over this, and it's going to be wet, so we need to cover the entire base with tape. And also, I don't want to see that hole anymore. Again, don't do this if you found that your sculpt is too heavy for your wire and you need to replace it. It's okay to need to replace it. We have more concrete, we have wire, we can do it. So now I'm just going to apply the tape, and it's important when you're applying the tape to your base to not have any wrinkles or have any weird edges. You don't want any creases around your corners. So you're going to pull it as nice and tight as you can, make it as clean as you can. It will really help in the beauty of your sculpture. So I will just continue. Oh, that one didn't work very well. I'll just continue taping my base here, And I want to just do another one so you can see how I can cover the hole. So I'm going to pull that nice and tight. See how that's nice and clean? There's no edges or weird stuff on the edges. So now I'm going to take my tape again, and I'm going to just go all the way up next to my wire, right over the hole there, and pull it down tight on the side here. You can see. And if it wraps down around the bottom, that's okay. All right, so when you're done taping, your base is ready. So once I've done all the way across the top, wrapping around the edges, then I'm gonna need to go the opposite direction with some pieces to cover this edge. So I don't want to do like this on the corner because that's going to create a bunch of wrinkles. What I want to do is go exactly in the opposite direction. And then it's all taped and secure, but it's nice and neat. So here I'm going to go right on the edge. I'm going to pull my tape nice and tight right around my corner. So now my corner, this edge is covered, but it's not wrinkly and distracting. And I still have a nice crisp shape. All right, you're ready to go.